Welcome here into Teal The Show, and look who's back. Frank Frangie back on this side of the pond. You feeling good?
I am feeling good. It was a great trip. It was a long trip, and the Jags got a win to end the trip, and that's the best part of the trip.
That is the best part. So we're trying to be more positive right now, Frank, and we're going to look at this thing glass half full. The Jaguars have won 2 of their last 3 games.
The Jags have won 2 of their last 3 games, and they tend to come back under Doug Peterson, galvanized when they come back from London. Both times now, with him as the head coach, they've come back and gone on a little bit of a run. I think that they're all together. I think the fact that they're together matters. I think they kind of gained something. I think they gained a little solidarity there. I've seen it happen with this team for a while now. So I think there's something to that, Jamal. I really do. I think they'll play well.
All right, talking about runs, this team knows a thing or two about going on runs under Doug Peterson. Each year there tends to be a losing streak at some point in the season, but then they figure out a way to put it together and have gone on a winning streak. Now maybe this is the time where they can go on that winning streak, Frank. It kind of brings us back to Doug's first year. That was the winning streak. At one point, they were 2-5 in that season.
Right.
Then they turned it on. They make a run and end up in the playoffs, win a game. The rest is history. The team's trying to apply some of those lessons, and guys feel pretty good about where they're at right now.
I just always believe, just never give up, you know. We come in here week in and week out and put our best foot forward, so we just got to continue to do that. We know there's been a lot of one-score games around here, and we know how good we can be. So let's go show the world how good we are. And we just got to just keep having that mindset. Don't pay attention to the media. Just keep believing in us and keep working week in and week out. And like you say, we made it to the playoffs that year, so you know the best is still yet to come.
Yeah, football starts now. Like coming into November, that's when the season really gets going. Understand obviously the beginning of the season matters as much as anything, but now is when guys separate themselves. You know, players, but also teams, when you really could, you know, show what type of team you're made of, and you know that's what training camp is for, right? So that when the long haul comes, you continue to stick it out, and I think that's kind of the time we're coming into.
It's just crazy because like nothing changed that year. It wasn't like there was just some X's and O's scheme. We just kept chipping away and started getting dubs, and I think when we get into these late, you know, early November games, I think this is when we get dangerous, honestly. Teams are starting to look at playoff pictures, they're starting to look at divisional races, and they're not really thinking about us, and I think that's when we can, you know, sort of jump on teams, and that's really what we did late in 22. I mean, jumped on Dallas, jumped on Baltimore, stuff like that, so, and it's not going to take, I mean, if you were to look at it on paper, you'd say, oh God, we play Minnesota, we played Green Bay, we played Detroit, but it's like we have such a talented team, and I've been on bad teams here, like bad teams that you knew were going to lose, like you literally had no chance, but this team is seriously so good, and I can't remember who asked it, but back to your point about being away from it, like this team is damn good. Like we got a damn good team. It's just you got to go make plays, and I think we didn't make plays early, but you take that variance, the things are going to flip. And as long as we just stay, you know, 10 toes down and just push all the chips into the middle, we're going to be fine.
Game to game, I think we made that run when we blocked out outside noise and we focused on 1 week at a time, winning plays instead of winning the whole game. When you start worrying about the end result during the middle of the game, you know, you're not playing at your best. You just got to play hard, play fast, worry about our style of play, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, I think we have more talent. Again, like I said, man, it's just us, you know, I'm not going to say like buying in because that does sound a little weird because I think we all bought in. Just us executing what we're supposed to do and being what we're supposed to be and trusting that the guy next to us or guys around us and Coach Ryan's going to call the call. It doesn't matter what he calls. It's about us knowing what we need to do in those situations and playing fast. And if we allow ourselves to do that and be in those positions, then we'll be very successful this year.
Seasons are won and lost at this time of the year, Frank. It is fall, October, November games. That's when your season is defined.
2 years ago, they were 3-7 at the break. That was after London. And they came back, and I still remember Trevor, the presser, and I remember the presser, and they had a peace about them, a quiet confidence. I remember thinking at the time, they're 3-7. They look more relaxed and confident than I would have expected. I remember it clearly, and then they went on that run. So I think those runs happen. I think they can happen. We'll see if they do or not. But it's not a team, to your point, and to the point from the players from whom we just heard, they're not panicking. They understand they've been there before. Now, look, it's a tough road at hoe coming up, some good teams coming up. But it's not a team that's panicking about the fact that they started slowly. I like that about them.
Now, part of going on a run means you get healthy, and it seems like the
Right.
Jaguars are starting to get a little bit healthier. They opened up the windows for Foye Oluokun, Andrew Wingard, and they're also hoping to get Travis Etienne back. Talked to all three of those guys in the locker room this week. All of them feel pretty good and are hoping to be out on the field on Sunday.
I feel great. I feel happy to be back out with the boys and stuff. Starting to get back in the swing of things. Just really happy to be playing ball with the team again. Yeah.
Just still taking it day by day, honestly. Just out there just trying to get ready for Sunday for real. So I'm just keep taking it day by day and see what the trainers say, and just lean into what they got for me.
The mentals are good. I'm still confident in my abilities and stuff. And I'm just going to need reps. I'm just going to need reps to get the playbook back and stuff like that. So not sure if it'll be this week or next week, but in a good spot for sure. And hopefully once I get my chance, I can just go ball out.
Frank, what would getting those guys back really mean for this team? Specifically Foye and Dewey. If they can go on Sunday, the leadership they bring to that defense would mean a lot.
I think you hit it. I think that's exactly right. Because of the way the injuries have played out and the way the roster construction played out, they've had to play a young team. They've been a young team defensively. With no Dewey out there and no Foye out there, that's a really young team. There is something to leadership. There is something to guys that know how to connect with other players. You know, Ventrell Miller's becoming sort of a leader. He's becoming kind of the outspoken guy, but it helps to get older guys back. It also helps in Dewey because they haven't had great safety play. I thought the safeties played better last week when Savage moved back to safety and played there along Andre Sisco. Antonio Johnson's going to be a good player. No one's given up on him. But he's young, and he was spinning a little bit. And I think having veteran leadership back there, and Dewey adds to that. So I think if they can get him back, if those guys can play, they're going to play at some point, whether it's this week or next week. When those guys come back, Andrew Wingard and Foye Oluokun, I think it makes a big difference on the defense. It really will.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about how those pieces could come together when Teal The Show returns right after this quick break. All right, welcome back here into Teal The Show. All right, Frank, the Packers are coming to town. This is a tough matchup for the Jaguars. Green Bay is a team that's been rolling. They just gave Houston everything they could handle. Joe Mixon did run wild, though, so maybe this is another Tank Bigsby game?
Well, first of all, starting with Green Bay offensively, they got a good football team. Yeah. Jordan Love's a good player. He's going to make some big plays. He's going to make some mistakes. Despite only missing a few games, he already has 15 touchdown passes. But he also has 8 picks, so he's going to throw it to you some, too. They are a very good team offensively. Defensively, they're tough. There's a physicality. Yes, I think you found something with Tank Bigsby. I don't think there's any question. He's your downhill runner. Look, they need Travis Etienne back because you need both guys. But I think you run the ball. I think they ran it 16 times in a row in that game against the Patriots. I think you're going to see more of that. They've said all along, you've got to have balance. They've got to run the football. So I think you'll see some of that offensively.
All right, on that defensive side, we mentioned it earlier in the show, talking about Foye possibly coming back. But the play of Ventrell Miller has been absolutely eye-opening. Now, Frank has supported that draft pick from day one, and you said that you thought Ventrell was going to be a really good football player. He's seen the field. He's turned into it. Doug Peterson referenced it earlier this week that when Foye comes back, he sees the possibility of those two being the tandem at linebacker.
He's got a burst about him, Jamal. He's probably their fastest linebacker. In today's day and age, fast linebackers are all the rage, even more than big physical guys. And he can get from point A to point B and gets there quicker than any other linebacker they've got. He plays with a tenacity. He's a football player, man. You need guys that are just out there that are football players. Ventrell's going to be a big, even when Foye comes back, he's going to be a big part of this.
Green Bay Packers coming to Jacksonville. And, you know, Frank, the last time the Packers played here at the bank, it was actually against the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
That was a couple years back, relief of Hurricane Ida, and they came here. Wasn't a pleasant trip. The Packers only scored 3 points that day. Maybe they can have another bad trip to the Sunshine State.
The Packers have a good team. They have heritage, too. There's going to be some green and yellow in that stadium. There always is wherever they play. They're one of those teams. They're the Cowboys, the Giants, the Steelers. Wherever they play, their fans tend to show up, and people love coming to Florida. So there's going to be some fans in the house. Green Bay's got a good team, but they also have a young team. Josh Jacobs has really made them better as a running back. He's been a physical, even more than Aaron Jones. I think he fits what they want to do, so he's been a good running back for them. But they've got a young team. They've got a good football team. But look, the Jags are at home. They're a real home for the first time in a while, and I do sense that they're galvanized. I really believe that, Jamal. I feel there's something there with this team. I think the Jags will play well in this football game. But Green Bay's only lost 2 games for a reason. Know this, and I know you do. There are 11 teams in the NFL of the 32 that only have 2 losses or fewer. The Jags play 5 of those teams the next 5 weeks. So it's a tough 5-week stretch, no question.
This is a tough stretch. But all of a sudden, if they get a win on Sunday, maybe you can start making believers out of us. All right, Frank, we've reached that point. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think the Jaguars can get the W?
I'm crazy. I'm picking the Jags. I think the Jags are galvanized. Most people are going to pick them to lose this game. I don't know that I like them next week against Philadelphia, and I think the Vikings are really good. I'm glad you didn't ask me to pick the next 3. But I think the Jags are going to beat the Green Bay Packers. I like how they're playing. I like the fact that I think they found something. They're going to win a few that they're not supposed to win or that the folks don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this week.
We'll take it 1 week at a time, Frank, but I like the way he's going. He's got the positive energy flowing. We'll see if the Jaguars can keep that positive energy flowing on Sunday night. Frank, it's great to have you back. Thanks for being here. Thank you at home for tuning in. Good night, everybody, and go Jags.